All right, folks. So today is a special podcast. We got a special guest for you here today. I would say this is the first time we got a billionaire in the vault, Michael Saylor. For some of you guys that don't know his story, I'll kind of set him up and then we'll get right into it. Get your pens ready. Get your papers ready. Get your mind ready. It's about to go for a workout the next 2 hours. I promise you. And for some of you guys that maybe still have doubts of cryptocurrency or maybe even Bitcoin, this man may change your mind. Here's why. MIT grad. He is the CEO and founder of MicroStrategy, nearly 2,000 employees. They started in '89, went public in '98, over 40 patents. If you own one Bitcoin today, a Bitcoin as of right now is worth $44,512. If you own 10, that's $440,000. If you own 100, that's $4.4 million. But he owns personally 17,732 Bitcoins, and his company, MicroStrategy, Brace for Impact, owns 125,000 Bitcoins. Let me say that one more time. 125,000 Bitcoins. So with that being said, Michael Saylor, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Happy to be here. Dead. You know, the conventional strategy for any publicly traded company is you take your treasure and you buy 1 to 5 year T-bills, and otherwise you hold it in cash. Now, if the interest rates were 3 or 4% and the money supply was expanding at 2%, you might think that that was rational. When the interest rate goes to 0% and the money supply is expanding at 2 or 3%, it looks a little bit painful. But when Wall Street recovers 30% in a matter of weeks, when Main Street's completely shut down, and it's pretty obvious it's shut down,
So here's what just took place. I'm trying to see, for somebody that's wanting to play devil's advocate and be a skeptic, Ukrainians are preparing to lose internet access. Okay, this is Crypto Briefing article. Per Forbes, in Ukraine, apps that permit basic services like communication and mapping without internet access are topping the downloads charts right now. Such applications utilize radio signals or Bluetooth for offline functionality and are common with when civil conditions deteriorate amid war. Government crackdown. A similar surges in such downloads occurred in 2019 with Hong Kong protests, right? While there has been an influx of cryptocurrency donations to the country amidst its invasion, cryptocurrency usage is generally impossible without internet connection. Parts of Ukraine's third most populous city, Odessa, have already lost power, and Forbes sources indicated their expectation that Ukraine could lose power and internet connectivity on a more widespread basis. This is where I'm going with this. So, you know, COVID takes place. Whatever you agree with it, there's a lot of different stories. It's a virus. It came from this lab. It came from this. We don't know yet because we haven't done the investigation. We still don't know. The tribunal court's got to get out there and say, like, we got to do a real investigation. But there was a community that says, look, China's known for investing most of their money in the military bio-warfare. That's what their strength is at, right? And Russia's known for cyber warfare. That's where, you know, they got the nuclear weapons. We all know they're very powerful with the nuclear weapons. But we experienced what, you know, if we had a bio-warfare the last 30 months, if we did, we experienced a glimpse of it. What it did, it shut down the entire world, right? What is your concern with a cyber war?
South America, Latin America, multiple times, Venezuela. You must have some strong feelings on what's going on in El Salvador with Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador. Is that someone you follow or you're in touch with or anything like that?
The situation in El Salvador is instructive because El Salvador doesn't have their own currency. They had a war, a civil war, and following the civil war, their currency collapsed, and so they dollarized. So the medium of exchange in El Salvador has been the dollar, and so their problem is and was that the banking system, the U.S. banking, or the traditional 20th century banking system is too expensive and cumbersome to serve the people of El Salvador. Over 100 years, they managed to put 2.5 million people into a banking relationship. Over 3 weeks, they rolled out digital assets than they accomplished in 300 years. And now I can put up one tower and give internet access to millions and millions of people for 1/1000th of the cost of doing it with the copper line technique. So if you think about digital banking, The future of the world is 8 billion people with mobile phones. I download an application in 60 seconds. And on that mobile phone, I carry a digital currency like the dollar, maybe the euro, maybe maybe the yen or the yuan, maybe if there's an effective nation state. If there's not an effective nation state, I just clearly swap out to the dollar immediately. Everybody would want to do that. And then I also carry a digital property, Bitcoin. I want to hold it for 100 years. It's instead of holding a building which you can tax or seize or rain on, or instead of like holding a bar of gold which you can take from me, I'm just going to hold my digital bar of gold on my phone. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I have some other assets. Maybe I have digital art. Maybe I have digital securities. Maybe copies of ownership of something else.
Are you 100% certain about the future of Bitcoin and that it has zero risk? There's no risk that could do anything to it?
I don't think you can state that. No, I think that everything in life has risk. So there's a black swan risk, an unknown, and anybody intellectually honest has to admit that there is that risk. That's not what I would say. What I would say is you've got a bucket of money. Let's come back to Africa. Okay. You've got $100,000 in Africa. You've got to invest it in something. You've got to put it into a building, into land, into an African currency, into something else. What are you going to do? There is 100% certainty that you're going to lose 80% of your money in most currencies over the next decade. There's 100% certainty you're going to lose 95% of your wealth over 30 years in just about every currency. And so you have to work through each of these issues and say, what's the cost of doing nothing? What's the cost of not taking a risk? What's the risk-free rate? Well, the risk-free rate is the monetary inflation rate. So the price that you pay to not do something is the rate at which the money is collapsing. If you were a Russian, they just lost 35% of their wealth by not doing anything in the matter of weeks. So in this particular case, you just have to look at the array of options. If you're an investor in South America or Asia or Africa, I would say the risk-free rate is much higher for you, right? Like you're in Lebanon, what are you going to do in Lebanon? How about Afghanistan? How about Iraq, right? What are you going to do? In all those situations, they're thinking, maybe I'll trust my money to Tether. Tether's run by Bitfinex. It's just a company. So why is it that people in many countries are more willing to trust a company out of Hong Kong that's running a stable coin on the crypto network than they're willing to trust their local bank? Well, because, in fact, Tether is probably a better bet than betting your money on most currencies in the world. Other than the top 12 currencies, the rest are collapsing.
Why do Tether if you can just do the US dollar or USDC?
Well, you can't. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Why do Tether if you could just do the US dollar? Okay, how many people in Africa can walk into a Bank of America in New York City, open an account, and then get the US dollar? None of them. That's the whole point. Right? And, okay, I did it. I'll give you an example. I put $1 million into Bank of America in Argentina when the dollar was worth 1 peso because I didn't trust the peso. I did it. What do you think happened?